welcome to the Vagabond Way podcast. The journey goes ever on with the long road. This episode, 15 songs, 15 months, one incredible journey. I was sorely tempted to name this episode Post-Orgasmic Bliss, for reasons that become quickly apparent as you listen to the episode, but I decided against it ultimately. Joined the Long Road's lockdown-fueled anarchic podcast chat celebrating the release of our latest 15-song album, American Wilderness Odyssey, and its companion book, a full-colour guide to the stories behind the songs, the characters we met on our travels, and the inside track on the Long Road themselves. Find out more about the Odyssey at our website, thevagabondway.net/awo. The Vagabond Way podcast featuring the Long Road is exploring the world of the troubadour, the adventurer, the vagabond. The world isn't beige, it isn't processed, it's authentic, it's rich and it's real. And if those are the sorts of sentiments that make your brain light up, then hop on board. We are embracing all of those things, we're celebrating all of that, and we'd love it if you joined us on the journey. Greetings, I am Chris the Bish Leiden. It's great to have you joining us once again, wherever in the world you are, for another slice of Long Road Lols. Today's special show is all about the launch of, well, actually, three things all at once. Such is the way of the Long Road. Nothing ever quite as straightforward as it could be. So today we are launching a new EP called Looking for Gold, which includes three brand new tracks, Looking for Love, Looking for Gold itself, Midnight Radio, and White Lightning Red Mustang. These join Western Requiem, which came out a few weeks ago, to make the final EP in our 4 EP set, which together form American Wilderness Odyssey, which is 15 songs released over 15 months, creating one incredible journey. This is the result of the 4 EPs we've released since late 2019, 2 in 2020, and this last one out today. All 15 songs exploring the moonshine, myth and madness of the southern states of the USA. And, not only that, we have been very busy working away for the last few weeks on a brand new companion book to go alongside the album, American Wilderness Odyssey, The Companion. This is a full-colour book that gives you the stories behind the songs, the places and characters that we met on our travels that inspired the songs, and gives you the backstory to the Long Road and the members of the Long Road, me, Steve Bonham and Kev Moore. All the good stuff you'd hear more about at gigs and by reading the old-fashioned liner notes of the record releases that you just don't get these days. For us, for our artisan music, part of it is the depth, the backstory, the behind-the-scenes stuff, the inspiration behind the songs that is as important as the song sharing itself. To that end, if you buy the companion book, you get a free digital download of the whole American Wilderness Odyssey album as part of it, and a free download of the lyric book for the American Wilderness Odyssey songs, and a digital download of Kev's Blue Odyssey album, which he produced after his inspirational tour of the Southern States a few years ago. So the companion book is just £10, available from our Bandcamp page, which is thevagabondway.bandcamp.com, or our website, thevagabondway.net/AWO, AWO, American Wilderness Odyssey. We think the book, the companion itself, is a really nice handcrafted addition to our output. Mal McKenzie of T34 Design in Liverpool, a long-time collaborator of ours, has done a brilliant job making it look absolutely fantastic. The book, paired with the music, we think is really something special and something artisan, something worth being proud of, and we are. So please do check it out on Bandcamp or our website. £10 for the book and all the digital extras included. There's some postage on top. Those of you who order from further afield than the UK, it might take a little longer than usual because of COVID and Brexit, but it will get there. Anyway, sales pitch over. Onto the hashtag content for today. The whole episode today is devoted to the three of us, me, Steve and Kev, chatting our way through some nonsense surrounding American Wilderness Odyssey. So, on to part 1 of the nonsense. I will hand over, as is tradition, to myself. Everybody, the Long Road are together again once more for our digital chat via Zoom, and today is the day that we've been building up to for, it seems like forever now, but probably several months since we actually had the idea, but in fact probably 15, 16, 17, 18 months in reality. Today is the day where the American Wilderness Odyssey, the entire 15-song trek, is released, and here I am with Steve Bonham and Kev Moore from home. Hello, Steve.
Good knob.
Good enough. There we go. And Kev from Spain. What language are you going to go with?
Buenos dias. I think we better stick with. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I wondered if there was going to be a bit of Danish sticking out of there, Kev, but no. There we go. Madness and anarchy with the long roads immediately as we start our recording. So today's the day, chaps. The American Wilderness Odyssey is out. How do we feel?
Ecstatic.
Ooh, I feel complete.
Yeah.
It's been quite the journey. I mean, the tagline we're using...
Post-orgasmic bliss.
Fine, that's where Steve's at. Great. 15 songs over 15 months and one incredible journey. That's what we've been calling it, really. I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we knew that when we started, did we? I think it was an unknown thing we were doing when we started. But here we are, 15 months later, and we've managed to work out what the hell we've done. I mean, how have you guys found the process of this 15-song cycle we've made?
In every sense, to me, I think it's been a journey. And you're right, you take those first steps and... you don't really know where you're going to end up. You're just finding your way. And as I look back at it, I'm sort of like, wow, we did that. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you look at the first EP, American Wilderness, it actually says on it, well, it says American Wilderness for a start, but then it then says...
Finger on the pulse marketing-wise, haven't we?
Yeah.
We thought we'd name the EP what we were going to call the EP.
Yeah.
There we go.
It says Steve Bonham, Chris Lydon and Kev Moore. It does not say The Long Road.
Yes.
And because we didn't know what we were going to do, and we weren't quite sure what that meant. And I think Kev and I were kind of playing around with these songs in the studio, thinking, "Oh, those would be good for later." And I think you were doing something with the National Youth Orchestra or something, or you're on holiday or something.
Yes,
and we just went in and started.
I was almost certainly working.
Yeah.
Very almost certainly working.
We went in and started, and then and sometimes in life, that's the best thing to do. Start without a clue.
Yeah.
Well, and boy, we started without a clue, didn't we? I mean, yeah. I didn't do that first session that you guys did on American Wilderness, Wrapped Up in You, and Interstate 25, because I went back a month later and I did my bits. So it sort of started. This train was moving, and I was hoinked onto it, if that's the word. Well, the bulk of the recording we did in January 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So,
in a week and a bit.
In fact, we probably started just over a year ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
Doing that recording, thinking about it. And then we've released these 15 songs over the course of the year. And we've taken people through the journey on the podcast. Every time there's been a new EP out or a new song out, we've done a little bit on it. So we didn't really want to try to repeat ourselves too much, because there are people listening to this podcast who are devoted followers who are well clued up on a lot of the stories about where the songs are from, I suppose. But perhaps it's a chance to think about, from our point of view, what some of the significant moments. So I don't know if you guys have got a thought on a particularly significant song for you. It may not be your favourite song, it may not be the best song we've done, but a significant song. Are there any thoughts you've got on that?
For me, I always come back to Duane and Billy Marie, actually. It's just from how I was constructing the music behind Steve's lyrics on that one was quite sort of everything in microcosm for me about where our ideas and music was going and how it came to be then in the studio down the line, how it was realised. And I think that's kind of, I don't know if I could even say it's my favourite, because there's so many songs I like from the whole collection, but it's one that always springs to my mind when I think of the project.
Maybe it was the first big crossover song we did. First big crossover from Steve's world and your world.
Yeah.
And wherever I sit in the middle of that, not having had a part in the sort of the writing of the music or the lyrics for that one, but that was a big crossover event for us, wasn't it, really?
I love that, but I also have an amazing soft spot for the track American Wilderness.
Yeah.
I mean, it rocks. It really... I don't think you could go further with acoustic music in terms of just sheer balls out.
Yeah.
Beefiness, That's a great way of writing a song. Have an idea to write a ballad. Go to the places that the ballad was about, try and get under the skin of the story, and then bring it back into the studio and just made it so strong and powerful. And particularly that middle section where it gets really, bluesy. I don't know if that's the right word, actually. But
it's got the blues
love
ethic.
That. I love that.
And that song in particular, it's a great example of how this process that actually perhaps you've just outlined there quite consciously, but I don't know. I didn't really appreciate that was going on so consciously. Perhaps the idea of having the notion for a story, and then you literally went to find people that knew about the story in that part of America, and actually. Literally tracked down people that the last surviving member of a family line to try to find out some more.
Yeah, well, I found where she lived, which is a ghost town on the outskirts of Las Vegas, New Mexico.
I mean, that's research to the nth degree, isn't it? That, but also, I think that song illustrates, the joy and the freedom of being independent artists, where you can say, I can't really write this in 3 verses, so I'm going to do 10.
20.
Yeah, and I'm like, great, because I love that. I love not being constrained by the 3-minute pop song.
Well, and there's so many elements to that which sort of that float my boat, sort of the authenticity of a form of music.
Yeah,
I think the three of us, we have this sort of view of the music we make. We're respectful of the history that we're stepping into and we're borrowing from and taking from, and but also we want to make something that's new and saying something about the subject matter, but also a little bit about the form what we're taking as well. I remember when Steve first said, I'm going to write this ballad. I was like, okay, yeah, ballad, yeah, I know what ballad is. Barbara Streisand, yeah, big powerful number, I can do that. And no, that wasn't the ballad he meant. He meant an old-fashioned, medieval ballad, if you like. Yeah. I think with the structure we went for, and it's an 8.5-minute song, isn't it, in the end, that one? Completely unplayable on radio, apparently. Although I could see some radio DJs thinking, great, I'll put this 8-minute song on, sit back for a cup of tea. Yeah. Like I think the emergency song that the BBC have on for radio or Radio 2 is the song from West Side Story, America from West Side Story, because it's something like 6 minutes long. Yeah. So they know that if they put that on an emergency, they've got 5.5 minutes to work out what the hell is going wrong with their broadcast, and they can fix it. Anyway, that's the sign.
I like that. I like that.
But so maybe we should extol the virtues of American Wilderness, the song, as an emergency.
Well, there are probably some quite complex.
It feels like 3 songs.
There are probably some quite complex microwave dinners that you can cook and prepare and serve in the time frame of that song.
Maybe that's an idea that we're onto there, Kev. Cook along with the long run. And we pre-package these meal ideas. We get them sent out like HelloFresh.
Yes.
That's smart.
A subscription service.
Now you're talking.
And you don't have the microwave humming along. You have this. You have a song.
A song, yeah.
That is genius.
That's it. And as you come to the final chorus, get the plates out. Everything's ready.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because we've got songs of all lengths. We've got everything from just under 2.5 minutes to
we've got starters, main course, and dessert.
Absolutely. I wonder if the CEO of HelloFresh is listening to this and whether they might be interested.
Well, I think
I've
got a really bad song that we could put on the cheese board.
The cheese board. Oh, me and Steve have got some cheese from years gone by. We can definitely. Dig out.
Now. Traditionally the Hammond organ is an essential piece of kitchen equipment. So
absolutely, you can fry an egg.
You can fry an speaker.
Get scrambled eggs.
If you put the cake mix in the speakers, you get a wonderful Victoria sponge.
I wonder if it would be good at kneading. Actually, I don't know quite the finish of it, but I wonder if it could knead a loaf of bread quite nicely
with your feet.
I think we're further extolling its virtues as it not being an electric instrument. It's definitely a tool. It's a bit of gear that you have to tame.
Yeah.
That we've tamed. For me, bizarrely enough, if I had to choose a song of most significance, perhaps it would be Canyons in the Desert. Again, another sort of crossover event, if you like. But it was the one that I absolutely had not a single clue how it was going to work out. It was a complete mystery to me, not only in terms of musically, because you guys know how I like to work. I like to understand how the songs work musically. I need to know what the chords are really to play along with it. And I just the verses of Canyons in the Desert, absolute bleeping mystery to me. And the same to you guys. I mean, if I asked you what they are, you wouldn't be able to tell me. Oh yeah, it's an E minor or it's a G major or whatever. It doesn't matter to you. And it does matter to me up to the extent I've got to be able to work out what to play. Mm-hmm. But actually, with that one, I got to a point where I was like, I can't know this.
It's unknowable. Yeah,
I just have to move into it and exist with it.
Yeah.
And I remember when going to put the piano down on that at Woodworm Studios, and I turned to Stuart and I said to him, in all honesty, I have no idea what's about. Absolutely not a clue. And he goes, that's fine. What's new?
Do you think, Kev, this is a complex way of Chris telling us we're aging hippies?
I think so, yeah. I think he's telling us we don't know what we're doing. It's pretty clear.
Yeah, actually, that is my opening line in the companion book.
I've noticed, yeah, and pretty much nail on the head, Chris. To be fair,
yeah, but afraid so. But that's fine, and that's part of the joy for me that the two worlds have come from, and Canyons in the Desert embodies that.
First couple of bars as you go into that, the atmosphere is instantly there with that little piano flourish you do, that little two-note thing, and you're there. We have an atmosphere. To me, job's done. Then you've drawn them in, you know. Yeah, it's great.
So for me, that Canyons is one of those significant moments where actually it really became a long road thing. Up there with Ballad, I mean, they both came on the same EP. They both came on that second EP, didn't they?
Yeah.
Listener, it is so simple at one level and so bonkers at another. I
mean, I'm probably the worst at this because I always find it really hard to hear lyrics on songs. I think I've said that on the podcast before. The words for songs are really very hard for me. I have to reread them to get them, and I haven't quite clocked how bonkers the chorus for Canyons is. And again, until I was reading the bit that you wrote about it for the companion book, Steve, where you really just point out about the dragon and the turtle, and it's just crazy. So if you want to go back to episode 24 of the podcast, which was on 29th of May 2020, you can hear the episode where we focused on Canyons in the Desert, the song we're talking about just then. If you want to hear that track, head to Bandcamp or Spotify or SoundCloud or Apple Music, or the music video is up on YouTube. Just search for Canyons in the Desert, Steve Bonham and the Long Road, and you'll find it. Lots of places to hear that bonkers song. But I thought I'd take this chance to play a different song, one of the brand new songs out today. Now, I'm trying to scrape around here to find a link between Canyons and the song I'm going to play. I've chosen to play the song called Midnight Radio, which is about the night that Elvis died. Now, I am struggling to find the link, really. Perhaps there isn't one. I just should play the song. Now, Steve, when we played this live, always says in his intro to this song, this one's about Elvis. I didn't know him well. And perhaps for me, at that point, there is always a sort of flash through my mind of the slightly surreal world where Steve actually did know Elvis quite well. So perhaps that's my link, tenuous as it is. The surreality of Canyons itself and the surreality of an alternative universe, perhaps, inspired by Midnight Radio and Steve knowing Elvis. Anyway, here we go. This is one of the new songs from Steve Bonham and the Long Road. This is Midnight Radio.
The king died and the beat played on. The world had turned, my innocence was gone. I slipped away from the kiss of her warm bed. I drove my car to the beat inside my head. He hadn't meant that much to me, but the DJ really cried. A backstreet boy from a Midland town, something should have died. But the cat looked down as the song played on the midnight radio. You can rock, but you cannot roll. You can rock, but you cannot roll. So opened out the road to kingdom come, for a crazy clown, so thin and kinda dumb. Was I running from, or was I running to? To tell the truth, I guess I never knew. But a 3-card trick and a broken chord gave me something to believe. I played a minor riff on a descending line that I might be received. And the cat looked down as the song played on the midnight radio. You can rock, but you cannot roll. You can rock, but you cannot roll. I found my way to Nashville, Tennessee. Stopped changing colors like the Tudor Street. My boots and brains walking down the street. A sort of home, a place to rest my feet. And I'm still playing the king. Makes more sense right now. Keep all things beside me, singing on somehow. The cat looked down as the song played on the midnight radio. You can rock, but you cannot roll. 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 You can rock, but you cannot roll.
And now back to the three-way chat. Maybe for people who are listening who haven't listened to all 15 songs yet, get on it. They're all out now. But if there was one that people wanted to listen to that was going to surprise them, for instance, what would there be a song that you'd point them to be surprised by?
That's an interesting question.
One that if they hadn't heard, which I just think is, to me, one of the greatest kind of group things we've done, is Bridge Across the River. I just think the stuff that you two did on there, it's tremendous, and it was great because again, it's a very simple structure with some weirdy bits in it. But the time you put Kev's extraordinary sing, I mean, it's extraordinary vocal,
Yeah.
you know, and the guitar leads, and then the bleeding Hammond.
The Hammond, yeah.
It's been the rise of the Hammond, this project, hasn't it, actually? It's really beefed up our sound.
It was always burbling away there in the background. You could feel it sort of got its own gravitational pull in the studio.
Yeah.
I mean, that one for me is a very special one because considering that Kev is a bona fide singer, Kev's got the chops for it. I absolutely am not a singer, but I'll have a good crack at it, and you guys have been very supportive of me having a good crack at it. But the vocals on that one, I think, are bloody brilliant. I think it's got such a great sound to it, and particularly the choruses, because the choruses I just love.
There was something about when we did those choruses. I think we just went somewhere else. It was I listen back now to some of those lines, not just the hollering that we added later, but the other, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what? You know, how did I even think about going there? Never mind actually doing it. And the way we stacked those vocals, you and I, Chris, on the backing of it, it's just like great. That was, you know, it was a moment in time. That.
Kev, was there one that you would point to people as being a surprise?
Well, with you mentioning Canyons there, I think Canyons is almost uncategorizable. It's like wow, you know, what is it, you know? And it's just it's completely steeped in atmosphere. Everything about it is groove and atmosphere, but that vibe it's got, and I think it goes back to Steve sending me such a raw. It was a very basic demo of just a couple of chords on a guitar and his almost spoken vocal, which I seem to remember he did lying down on his settee or something. And
I think on his back on
yeah,
the sofa.
yeah.
Yes.
And that gave
laid
me
back, a proper laid back.
and sometimes when I'm sent something that stripped back, it's just a brilliant canvas to work with.
And that's the thing. I mean, you know how I love to sort of see the connections between the songs and see where the Venn diagrams cross over.
Yeah.
But for me, something like Canyons and Ballad, they're sort of on the fringes of the world that we're in, and they are pushing us into new places. Another one that does that for me is Do You, which is again, it's a different sort of sound world, and just like the chorus on Bridge really resonates with me. The choruses on Do You really resonate with me because it's the most simple chorus we've ever done, 2 words, but with our 3 vocals, with the parts we're playing on our instruments, with that tuba line as well, it just. I mean, when I was putting the video together for that, I was listening to that song, I don't know how many hundreds of times, and never once did I get bored of being uplifted by that chorus. I think
that was a surprise to me, actually, revisiting that myself. I thought, wow, this is great. As you said, the really nice tuba work, the vocals. Forgotten that I'd put that guitar lick on there and gone, oh, that's tasty. Oh, it's me.
Yeah. And things like that guitar lick, which actually link through to another of the new songs out today, which I think the title of which we settled on is White Lightning, Red Mustang.
Yeah.
But we'll probably call it Red Mustang or White Lightning, or what's the blue one?
Blue Ridge.
Blue Ridge.
Yellow Moon.
Yellow Moon. It'll be any one of those four titles. But the guitar lick from Do You, to me, links to the guitar lick that you put down for White Lightning as well. These tendrils that spread between them all. One day I'll write a book on it. I'll write a book on the tendrils of Long Road music. Well, I suppose what do you think you've learnt in this? So 15 songs, 15 months, one incredible journey. What do you think we've learnt?
I thought it was a great idea that we should do it in EP format and release things at regular intervals. Not really done anything that way before. It's normally been an EP or an album rather than a collection of chapters of a book leading to the complete whole, you know. I think it probably helps you focus on the tracks you're working on at the time. So therefore, I think you give greater respect to the 4 songs in each session that you're doing. So when we come to the end of it, as now, I think you can look back and perhaps the canon as a whole has received more care and attention than perhaps it would if it was an album in the making at the beginning. You'll get fillers sometimes in that regard, whereas I don't think we've got fillers.
I think that's my hugest learning. Doing it this way gave a chance to... I'm not being arrogant enough to say they're all great songs or anything like that, but there's nothing I don't personally 100% back. So I love that.
I think every one of the songs is saying something.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we could decide to put Western Requiem in at the end and say, actually, you know, the journey in life is a constant discovery. You know my thing. You know that setting a goal, saying here are the 10 songs and blah blah blah. It's not right. It's the world will tell you what to do, and I couldn't have written Western Requiem back then, and by the time it did, it just felt
that perfectly illustrates it. Actually,
the way of finishing what we've done, and it's been beautiful. I also have really learned the whole bit about working in a team again.
Yeah,
this is so different to what normally happens within a studio. You know, this is I was watching a thing, and again, this is not a comparing ourselves to the Beatles, but that clip that came out, clip that came out by Peter Jackson recently, of them working together and laughing and listening to each other, and I thought, I know that is the world we've had on this, and that's been an incredible joy, and I want to keep working like that.
You've got to interact, you've got to work together, you've got to back things back and forth, and that gets you to a much greater height. You know, having a goal in mind is fine, but actually just seeing where the journey takes you is much more interesting.
Yeah.
So to finish off the show, #content-wise, I'm going to play one of my favourites from the whole album. It's brand new out today, the just about eponymous track from today's new EP. This one is Looking for Love, Looking for Gold. It's a beautiful number, this, actually a bit unexpectedly quirky at times, but it's still Long Road through and through. The very first time I heard this, I just loved its simplicity, sort of familiarity, but it's not a three-chord trick of a song. And once again, the lyrics from Steve are a joy to bury yourself in. I'm going to read a little segment now from the Companion, the book that we've just published, that Steve wrote about this song in particular. So, Looking for Gold was written by Steve while staying with his great friend, the American songwriter and folklorist Rob McHale in North Carolina. Rob's house is on the edge of a lake set amongst the trees. Sitting in Rob's den, looking out onto the waters as autumn swirled in, far from home, it was easy to think of those who had once hunted through these endless forests and the mountain men, trappers who would disappear for years on end, answering the call of the wild but never free from the call of home. So, here for you from Steve Bonham and the Long Road, this is Looking for Love, Looking for Gold.
The old dog in the stars finds his way to Mars. I'm thinking of you, staring at blue in the gilded fall, copper and bronze, the hint of a song, back once and for all. In, out and through, let's find what's true. Looking for secrets that can be told. Looking for love, looking for gold. The only son of the road, I carry my own load. My fate is my own. All the people I've known that curse were named, hope to stumble and slide, tagged along for the ride, just part of the game. In, out and through, let's find what's true. Looking for secrets that can be told. Looking for love, looking for gold. The hint in the breeze, the whisper of the trees, the shape of the moon that lingers till noon. Wherever I roam, in the eyesight of mind, all the things that I find that are calling me home. In, out and through, find what's true. Looking for secrets that can be told. Looking for love, looking for gold. Looking for love, looking for gold.
That's it for this week. Thank you for listening wherever in the world you are. Subscribe to the podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts. The next episode will be out next Friday. Join us on YouTube for the Transatlantic Connection Show and become part of the Transatlantic Connection movement. Head to youtube.com/thevagabondway. All of our music and merch is on Bandcamp, where you can support a positive ecosystem for the music industry. Downloads, streaming, vinyl, CDs, the companion book, it's all there. thevagabondway.bandcamp.com. We're on Patreon at patreon.com/thevagabondway. Big thank you to our Patreons and a special shout out to Orla Flynn, James Lydon, Stuart Lydon, Yvette Lydon and Trish Taylor. Thank you for your ongoing support. Patreon is a great platform that makes it super easy for anyone out there, you, to support content that you love on a monthly basis. It gives you direct access to the people creating the stuff you love, us, hopefully, and you get to play an integral part in shaping the direction of things that we make. So, become a Vagabonder. That's our name for our supporters on Patreon, and help us create new music, live performances, books and short stories, this weekly podcast, our YouTube show, and some new things that we are cooking up. As a Vagabonder, you can get the recordings and books we make for free, receive exclusive Patreon-only merchandise in the post, get regular behind-the-scenes updates from us, unlock access to exclusive live-stream performances and Q&As, and lots more. You can help us create something different, something that entertains, and something that inspires others. So, join us on the journey and release the vagabond within. Patreon.com/thevagabondway. Thank you once again, brave adventurers, vagabonds and explorers, for joining us on The Vagabond Way. Remember, the world isn't beige, it's authentic, it's rich, and it's real. Embrace every last bit of it. Until next time, the journey goes ever on with The Long Road. Bye for now.